everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? All right, can everybody take a seat? The bishop is making his way down here. So if everybody could just find a place to sit. Thank you.
With your power and holy name, protect them, so they may be one like us through us, so they may be one like us through us. Let them be one, so they may be one like us through us, so they may be one like us through us. Let them be one.
Can everybody hear me? All right. His Grace Muluneh, the Bishop of the DMV area and the member of the Holy Keynote, almost Filipos, respected priests, deacons, mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters. Thank you for coming to this exciting event. And we're going to start with this, we're going to do an opening prayer by His Grace Muluneh, and then we're going to go straight into our spiritual hymn by the YOTC choir, and then we'll start with the program. And now we'll ask everybody to stand, and we'll have His Grace Muluneh. We'll start with a prayer.
በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። አቤቱ አምላካችን መድኃኒታችን ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ በቸርነትህ በመግቦትህ ጠብቀህ እዚህ ስላደረስከን እናመሰግንሃለን። ብርሃነ ልደትህን ብርሃነ ጥምቀትህን እንድናይ ስለፈቀድክልን እናመሰግንሃለን። አሁንም አቤቱ አምላካችን ሆይ ይህንን ጉባኤ ባርክልን፣ ቀድስልን። አንተ እንደነገርከን እንዳስተማርከን ሁለትም ሶስትም ሆናችሁ በስሜ በምትሰበሰቡበት በዚያ እገኛለሁ ባልከው አምላካዊ ቃል መሰረት አሁንም አቤቱ አምላካችን ሆይ በአንተ ስም በዚህ ቅዱስ ስፍራ ተሰብስበናልና በረድኤት እንድትባርከን ጉባኤያችን እንድትባርክልን እንለምንሃለን። በእናታችን በቅድስተ ቅዱሳን ድንግል ማርያም ጸሎትና አማላጅነት በቅዱሳን ነቢያት፣ በቅዱሳን ሐዋርያት፣ በቅዱሳን መላእክት ጸሎትና አማላጅነት ቅዱስ ስምህን እንዲህ ብለን እንጠራለን። አባታችን ሆይ በሰማያት የምትኖር፣ ስምህ ይቀደስ፣ መንግሥትህ ትምጣ፣ ፈቃድህ በሰማያት እንደሆነች እንዲሁ በምድር ትሁን። የዕለት እንጀራችንን ስጠን ዛሬ፣ በደላችንን ይቅር በለን እኛም የበደሉንን ይቅር እንደምንል። አቤቱ ወደ ፈተና አታግባን ከክፉ ሁሉ አድነን እንጂ መንግሥት ያንተ ናትና፣ ኃይል፣ ክብር፣ ምስጋና ለዘላለሙ አሜን። እመቤታችን ቅድስት ድንግል ማርያም ሆይ በመልአኩ በቅዱስ ገብርኤል ሰላምታ ሰላም እንልሻለን። በሐሳብሽ ድንግል ነሽ፣ በሥጋሽም ድንግል ነሽ። አሸናፊ እግዚአብሔር እናት ሆይ ሰላምታ ላንቺ ይገባሻል። ከሴቶች ሁሉ ተለይተሽ አንቺ የተባረክሽ ነሽ፣ የማኅፀንሽ ፍሬ የተባረከ ነው። ጸጋን የተመላሽ ሆይ ደስ ይበልሽ፣ ኑር እግዚአብሔር ከአንቺ ጋር ነውና ከተወደደ ልጅሽ ከጌታችን ከመድኃኒታችን ከኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ዘንድ ይቅርታና ምሕረት ለምኝልን ኃጢአታችንን ያስተሰርይልን ዘንድ ለዘላለሙ አሜን። ለአብ ለወልድ ለመንፈስ ቅዱስ አንድ አምላክ ምስጋና ይገባል፣ ዛሬም ዘወትርም ለዘላለሙ አሜን። እግዚአብሔር ጉባኤያችን ይባርክ።
This world.
thank you for is everybody here for the book release? There's more people than I thought. All right. Is everybody here for the book release?
Yes.
Okay. You're sure?
Yes, we
On a Saturday morning. Instead of sleeping. So thank you for everybody for coming here. My name is Kalab. I'll be one of your hosts, and she'll introduce herself. But we're YLTC servants, and the people that you just saw were the worship team there from YLTC as well. So welcome to this book release event, everybody. I hope you guys are excited. We have a great program for you guys, and we'll kind of get into that later on.
Yes, welcome everyone. My name is Gigi, and I am also a YOTC member. And does everyone know what YOTC stands for? No? Okay. Well, it stands for Young Orthodox Tewahdo Christians, and we'll go into more about that. But we have something really exciting for you all. We have a fun trivia activity. So we really want your participation with this. Can anyone tell me what is the author's full name, and can you also guess what his age is?
His brother cannot play, wherever he is. All right. Let's see his uncle. Sorry, you're disqualified. All right, somebody that's not a family member of Dawit. I only said the first name.
Gigi, you just put it.
You just put it up?
Dawit Muluneh.
Dawit
Muluneh.
That's close enough. Can you guess his age?
Say 12.
26? Did you say 56? 20? Plus or plus 20. Alright, she gets, so he doesn't know this, but we're actually going to give out a free book to her, alright? Sorry, Dawit. So she gets a free signed copy. Somebody from Connection Team will give you a copy. Good job. Sorry, Dawit. Alright, so we're going to have a few more trivia throughout today. So we're going to have a little fun today, alright? Alright, so what we have next is we're going to have a sermon by our brother Steve. I'm just going to say it up front. When he comes up here, yes, he is not from Ethiopia. He might not look it. But he's from the Coptic Church, which is one of our sister churches. So he'll come up here and he'll give us a sermon. So without any further wait, we'll introduce our brother Steve.
I'm going to have to apologize. I am dealing with just a little bit of a cold. So I kind of woke up this morning with a little cold. My 3-year-old has this great skill of coughing directly inside my mouth when I wake up. That's my 3-year-old. I brought my 5-year-old that's sitting over there. And so hopefully I can feed off of your energy, because I am feeling a little bit of lack of energy. But I wasn't going to miss this for anything. I know I kind of had a tight schedule today, but I wanted to make sure that I was here because for those of you who all were here, there was a CD release, right? There was a CD release, and I spoke at the CD release. Y'all remember that? I'm at a different church up in Northwest. Now I'm at the book release. So when you guys do the feature film, like the movie Red Carpet, okay, you just call me and I will be there. Anything Hollywood, just let me know. Okay? But I am very excited to be here. Today is a celebratory occasion. Like, today is a great celebration. And the question is, what are we celebrating today? Are we celebrating this guy? No. I'm going to mess around with him a little bit. Are we celebrating this guy? No. A resounding no, okay? We're not. Are we celebrating that someone wrote a book? Like, every day, people write books. Are we celebrating that someone wrote a book? No, we're not celebrating someone wrote a book. What is the occasion? What am I so excited about today? What are we all here to really celebrate? To me, we're celebrating that someone, represented by him, someone stood up and took on a great work for the glory of God. Amen. That someone stood up and said, I am going to share my story. I am going to do this great work, not for my glory, not for my name, but for his name. And that is worthy of celebration. Don't you agree? Yes. Writing a book is hard. I've never done it, but I've heard that it's very, very hard. And if you ask me what is the hardest part of writing a book, and hopefully he can corroborate this later on. But to me, if you ask me what's the hardest part of writing a book, it's the vulnerability of my thoughts for everyone else to see. Like now, I look at it, and now I know exactly what Dawit is thinking and experiencing. And basically, it's so vulnerable, this idea of I'm putting my thoughts, my faith, my belief on paper for all eternity, for everyone to see. And as I read the book, I learned a lot, kind of personally, about Dawit. A lot of it made me question our friendship, and made me think I don't want to be friends with him. But I loved reading it because of that personal touch. And that, to me, is what we celebrate today. We celebrate a brother of ours, a brother in Christ, who stood up and said, this is my story, this is my journey. These are the answers that I've come to in my faith, and I'm sharing it for everyone else who may be struggling, for everyone else who has these same questions. That, to me, is worthy of celebration today. So yeah, there are so many great specifics that I get into in the book, specific answers, specific topics. That's great, and I'm sure over the next hour or so you're going to get into them. But to me, I look at the big picture, and I love the idea that a friend of mine, someone who is on his own spiritual journey, stood up and said, I'm going to take on this task. And when I thought about what I wanted to share today in kind of reference to the book, or kind of similar to the message of the book, I thought about a parable. Okay, this parable is not one of like the famous ones, right? Y'all know like the famous ones are what? Like the prodigal son, the sower and the seeds, the good Samaritan, the lost sheep. Those are like the famous parables. Okay, but I wanted to share a small parable. So small that it's actually 2 verses. 2 verses, and you know you're a professional speaker, you can speak for 20 minutes on 2 verses. Okay? 2 verses, to me, sum up the message that I got from this book. The 2 verses come from Matthew chapter 13. And to me, they're 2 verses, but 2 powerful verses that teach a really great truth that I found when reading this book. I'm going to read the 2 verses in Matthew 13, verse 45. Jesus here, the whole chapter is about parables. Kingdom of heaven is like, kingdom of heaven is like, kingdom of heaven is like. All these different parables. And even Jesus, in the middle of the chapter, explains why he speaks to people in parables. But this is one of the parables. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. And when he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. It's 2 verses, so I'll read it again. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. And when he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. Picture that with me. Picture the parable with me. A businessman gets an alert saying there is a treasure somewhere out there. Very valuable, very expensive, very, very, very precious. And he goes everywhere. He goes to America, he goes to Egypt, and he goes to Ethiopia, and he looks everywhere for this pearl, for this treasure. And when he finds it, he returns back to his home, takes all of his stuff, and sells it immediately, and said, give me that one pearl. Give me that one thing that I found that is more precious than all the collection of belongings that I have gathered my entire life. This is what Jesus said is the kingdom of heaven. The fine pearls, if you think about it, and when I started thinking about the kingdom of heaven, like what is the kingdom of heaven? What is the kingdom of heaven to me is the journey of faith. Like the journey towards Christ. The journey towards the faith in Christ through his church, through his sacraments, through his teachings. And I thought about myself as the merchant. And it's funny because I don't know very many people in this room. But I would bet you, and I'll bet all the money in my pocket versus all the money in your pocket, that there are different kinds of people in this room. Let me explain some of the people. Each one of us is the merchant looking for the fine pearl, right? Or else you wouldn't be here. Like Caleb said, Saturday morning, you can be sleeping, you can be doing a bunch of stuff. You're here because you're looking for something more. You're looking for something valuable. You're looking to go on that spiritual journey or to find that valuable pearl. And there's different merchants here. Some people are the merchants that they started looking, and then stuff happened. Like busyness happened. Worldly stuff happened. I got too busy. I got too distracted. I got busy with my job or my school or my relationships or my whatever. And all of a sudden the busyness convinced me that the pearl that I thought was so valuable is not that valuable anymore. Because now I'm on to something different. Then there's other people. There are merchants here who are looking for that valuable pearl. You started on your journey. And then maybe you found it, and you found like a stain on the pearl. I'm going to speak candidly. You found a stain on the pearl and said, man, what I thought was so valuable, now there's a stain on it. You didn't know that the stain could be washed away. You didn't know that there's blemishes on everything that can be removed. But you saw it and said, someone tricked me because they told me that that thing was perfect and without blemish, and that pearl was great, and now it's stained, and I don't want it anymore. Some of us have that mentality with the church, where we thought the church is one thing, and then we saw something else. We were told that it was something not. So we said, forget that journey. I'm done with that journey. And we left the fine pearl because we were convinced that it was supposed to be perfect, when in fact, it's not perfect, it's just valuable. And what I'm trying to get at today, the reason that the book hit me, and I think I shared this maybe when we were doing our interview a couple days ago, is to me the book is one merchant's journey to find the pearl of great value. And that's what I love about it, is no matter where you are in that journey, the book gives me hope. Because like I said, some of us have lost the idea of how valuable the pearl is. The pearl, the church, the faith. If you've lost hope in it, believe me, is the most valuable thing you will ever come across. Has the power to change your life. Has the power to change relationships. If you don't believe me, read the book. Read the book. But some of us today have given up on that journey because of a lot of the questions that were raised in the book. And we said, you know what? There's too many things that I have all these questions about. It's not worth it. It's not what it is. And what I'm trying to tell you is there is no too late to get back on that journey. If it's the book, great. If it's something else, great. But everyone here today needs to assess, where am I on that journey? What questions do I have that I have gone unanswered, that I've allowed to go unanswered, that have stopped me from seeing the value of my faith, of my church, of my belief system? And how content are we to allow those things to go unanswered? That's the great thing about what I enjoyed about the book, is it tackled so many issues that a lot of us have just decided, you know what? It is what it is. Like, I'm never going to get an answer. Or I'm just going to have to agree to disagree, or whatever. No. What we're talking about is too valuable to just let it sit on the sidelines or kind of sift inside of us. The book, to me, is the journey of one man on his faith journey to find the most valuable thing in the world, which is faith in Christ and the beauty of his church. And that should be all of our goals, and that should be our inspiration today, is I'm not content just reading about someone's journey. I want to go live that journey for myself. And I'm telling you, no matter where you are on that journey, you can always jump back in. You can always jump back in. Because the thing at the end, that pearl of great value, I promise is going to be better than what you expected. So, we celebrate the book, we celebrate the author, we celebrate all of that, but we don't lose sight of our own celebration, of our own journey. We don't just try to hang on to someone else's experience, we go create our own experience. That's my hope and prayer for each one, is that you look at the book and you read the book and you say, this is inspiring me to find my own journey and to discover my own journey of faith and to come up and find the most precious pearl in the world, which is his church and faith in him. And glory be to God forever.
Amen.
You hear the word of God, Steve. Thank you for coming and giving us a powerful sermon.
Yes, again, thank you so much, Steve, for coming up here. There was a lot of important things in just the sermon alone. You know, the importance of the kingdom of heaven and how easy it is for us to let go of what's most important, and that is, of course, our relationship with God and trying to serve him. And this book is a segue into reaffirming your relationship with Christ and getting back into the church. So thank you so much, because that was such a relatable sermon.
All right, so next what we have is we'll have our last YOTC change of course. All right, so what we're actually going to go to is we're going to go into the panel discussion. So we'll have a table set up for the panelists, and 4 chairs so the panelists could come up. Cassis Nehemiah, Ida, Bini, and Dada. I think that's it. So we'll start with the panelists, but because they changed things on us, we'll fill in. We'll do another trivia. You guys ready for another trivia? Okay. So, read the book. Raise your hand. Right. Who's read it? Okay. All right. So the question is, how does Dawit end each of his chapters? The questions are going to get a little bit harder. How does he end each of his chapters? We're looking for 2 things. With a verse, not, sorry. I saw my man right here.
Is it a challenge and discussion question?
Oh, there you go. That's what we're looking for. Give my man a book. All right, did everybody hear him? So each of the chapters, Dawit ends with the discussion questions. There's about 4 to 5 questions, and also a challenge. So at the end of each chapter, you know, what I did, and I'll tell you guys what I did with my Sunday school students is, that's what we're doing for the next 12 weeks. Everybody has the book, we all read a chapter, and we come to class and we have that discussion. So I encourage any Sunday school teachers, something you can do in your own Sunday school. So each chapter has discussion questions followed by a challenge. Take the challenge seriously. I think some of those challenges will really test our faith, just like Steve said. We all have our own spiritual journey. So take the challenges seriously. Just, you know, don't skip over them. I think they're very important. All right. Did you get the book? Did somebody give him a book? Okay, good. All right. So what we have is we'll have a little introduction from His Grace. Abuna Fano is going to give us a short introduction. So at this time we'll have His Grace Abuna Fano to come and he'll give us.
በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። ተከበራችሁ አበው ቆሞሳን፣ ካህናት፣ ሊቃውንት፣ ወጣቶች ልጆቻችን፣ እግዚአብሔርን የምትወዱ እግዚአብሔር የሚወዳችሁ ምዕመናን በጠቅላላ እንደምን ሰነበታችሁ? እንዴት ዋላችሁ? እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ሁላችንንም እያለንበት በፍቅር ሰብስቦ በዚህ ሰዓት የልጃችን የዲያቆን ዳዊትን ድካሙን የለፋበትን የደከመበትን መጽሐፍ ለመመረቅ እሱንም ለመመረቅ ለማመስገን ለማበረታታት ከሩቅም ከቅርብም የመጣችሁ ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ጸጋውን በረከቱን ያብዛላችሁ። እንኳን ለብርሃነ ልደቱ ወጥምቀቱ በሰላም አደረሳችሁ። እንግዲህ ልጃችን ዲያቆን ዳዊት የሰራውን ስራ ለመመልከት ነው የመጣ ነው ወደዚህ ቦታ። በእውነቱ እግዚአብሔር በዚህ ወጣት ላይ አድሮ የሚሰራው ስራ ሁሉ እጅግ ድንቅ ነው። ጠቅላላ ወደ ሕይወቱ ስንመለከት እግዚአብሔር ገና በልጅነቱ የጠራው ነው። ለሳሙኤል ሁላችሁም የምታውቁት ነቢዩ ሳሙኤል ገና የ3 ዓመት ብላቴና እያለ እግዚአብሔርን በዚያ በመገናኛው ድንኳን ለሊቀ ካህናቱ ለኤሊ እየታዘዘ እያገለገለ እየተላላከ ገና በሕፃንነቱ ምንም ሳያውቅ እግዚአብሔር በዛን ጊዜ ሰው ይፈልግ ነበርና እግዚአብሔር የሚያነጋግረው ምስጢሩን የሚገልጥለት ሰው ያጣበት ጊዜ ስለነበረ ነቢዩ ያን ሕፃን እግዚአብሔር ሐሳቡን ሁሉ እቅዱን ሁሉ የገለጠለት ለነቢዩ ለሳሙኤል ነው፣ በእግዚአብሔር ቤት ውስጥ እያለ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ልጃችን ዲያቆን ዳዊትም እንደዚሁ ነው። በቅድስት ማርያም ቤተ መቅደስ እንግዲህ ከልጅነቱ ጀምሮ እያገለገለ እግዚአብሔር ጠራው። ከሱ በፊት ብዙ አሉ፣ ከሱ በኋላ ብዙ አሉ። ነገር ግን እንዲህ አይነቱ መጠራት ለሁሉም አይሆንም። እግዚአብሔር የወደደውን ማደሪያው ያደርገዋል። ስለፈለገው እግዚአብሔር ጠራው፣ በቤቱ አሳደገው። እውቀቱን ደግሞ ለማስፋት ሀገር ቤት ድረስ ሄዶ ምቹ የሆነውን ኑሮ ትቶ በዚያ በደብረ ሊባኖስ ደግሞ የሚያስፈልገውን እውቀት ቀስሞ ወደዚሁ ተመልሶ ከወንድሞቹ ከእህቶቹ ጋር ሆኖ የእግዚአብሔርን ቤት እያገለገለ አሁን ደግሞ አባቶች እንደሚሉት በቃል ያለ ይረሳል፣ በመጽሐፍ ያለ ይታወሳል እንዲሉ እውቀቱን በመጽሐፍ አስፍሮ ለወንድሞቹ ለእህቶቹ አስተላልፏል። ስለዚህ ወንድማችን ልጃችን ዳዊትን በእውነቱ ሁላችሁም በጭብጨባ ልታመሰግኑት ይገባችኋል። እግዚአብሔር እንዲያሳድገው ለበለጠ ደግሞ የክህነት አገልግሎት እንዲጠራው ቤተ ክርስቲያናችን እንደዚህ አይነት ልጆች በብዛት ያስፈልጓታል። ለትውልዱ ተደራሽ የሚሆኑ ለትውልዱ ቅርብ የሚሆኑ ልጆች ሊኖራት ይገባል። ይሄ አገር በተለይ እንደምታየው ብዙ ወንድሞቻችን እህቶቻችን ብዙ ልጆቻችን ጠፍተዋል። ዓለም ወስዳቸዋለች። በየቦታው ታውቃላችሁ ልጆቹ የት እንደሚውሉ። ስለዚህ እነዚያን ለመጥራት በልጆቹ እኩያ የሆነ የልጆቹን እውቀት ያለው በሚረዱት ቋንቋ የሚነግራቸው የሚመክራቸው ሰው ያስፈልጋል። አንደኛ እኩያቸው ሲሆን ያዳምጣሉ። ብዙውን ጊዜ ሽማግሌ ከሆነ የሚናገረው ይህን ያህል ትኩረት አይሰጡትም። ግን ጓደኛቸው ከሆነ የዕድሜ እኩያቸው ከሆነ ግን ጆሮአቸውን ይሰጣሉ። ስለዚህ እንዲህ አይነቶቹን እግዚአብሔር አስነስቷል። መጠቀም ደግሞ የቤተ ክርስቲያን ፈንታ ነው። ማሰማራት የቤተ ክርስቲያን ፈንታ ነው። ስለዚህ እኛም ይሄ የወጣቶቹ ስብስብ አንድነት በዚህ መልክ ሲቋቋም መልክ እንዲይዝ በሀገረ ስብከት ደረጃ እውቅና እንዲያገኝ ሰፊ አገልግሎት እንድትሰጡ ወዲያውኑ ምላሽ የሰጠ ነው ለልጆቻችን። ምክንያቱም እናንተን አልቦ ቤተ ክርስቲያን ቤትን ማድረስ አይቻልም። ተተኪ ትውልድ የግድ ያስፈልጋል። እናንተ ቤተ ክርስቲያኒቱ ለእናንተ ቦታ ሊኖራት ይገባል። ብዙውን ጊዜ የጉድለታችን ይሄ ነው። በቤተ ክርስቲያን ትምህርት በሚሰጥበት ሰዓት ሕፃናት ለብቻ የሚማሩበት፣ በመካከለኛ ቲኔጀሮቹ ለብቻ የሚማሩበት፣ ወላጆች ለብቻ የሚማሩበት እንደዚህ አይነት ክፍፍል ብዙ ጊዜ የለም። በዕለተ ሰንበት ይቀደሳል። መምህሩ የሚሰጠው ትምህርት በአብዛኛውን 80% የሚሸፍነው ወላጆች ወጣቶች ላይና ሕፃናቱ ላይ አተኩሮ በሀገር ቤትም ቢሆን የሚተላለፈው መልእክት ይሄ ነው። እዚህ ደግሞ ሁለት ችግር ይሆናል። አንድ ቋንቋው አለ፣ ሁለተኛ መልእክቱ አለ። አንዳንድ ጊዜ ለሽማግሌ የሚወረወረው መልእክት ልጆች ሊሰሙት የማይገባ ቃላት ሊሆን ይችላል። እኔ ሐዋሳ ሳለሁ አንድ ገጠር ላይ ሄድኩና ጉባኤ በኋላ ምዕመናን ተሰበሰቡና እረ ልጆቻችን ትላንትና ምንድን ነው አንድ መምህር አስተምሮ ነበር። በዚህ በብሉይ ኪዳን ታሪክ ላይ አለ ማሰሯችሁን ስበሩ የሚል እንትን አለ ኃይለ ቃል አለና ማሰሮ ሁሉ ስበሩ የሚል ትምህርት አስተምሮ ልጆቹ አልገባቸው። ቤት ሲገቡ ቤት ውስጥ ያለ በሙሉ የሸክላ ዕቃ ደራሽ አጠፉ፣ በሙሉ ሰባበሩ እና ወላጆች እኔ ጋር ቤት ታመጡ። የቤት የሸክላ ዕቃ አልቀረምና ትናንትና ምንድን ነው ዕቃ ስበሩ ተብሎ ነው የተማሩት ልጆቹ አሉ። እና መምህሩን ጠርቼ እኔ በቦታው ስላልነበር ምንድን ነው አርዕስት በምን አርዕስት ነው ያስተማርከው ስለው እንደዚህ አለና ተረቀ ወይ ይሄ ነው ችግሩ። መግባባት የለም እና ልጆቹ የገባቸው በቀጥታ ማሰሮ መስበር እና የሚተላለፈው መልእክት ለማን እንደሆነ መለየት ያስፈልጋል። ይሄ ችግር አለ። እዚህ ደግሞ ድርብ ያደረገብን ከቋንቋው ጋር ስለሆነ ቋንቋም ተጨምሮ ነው። ቋንቋው ሳይጨምር በምንገባባትበትን በአማርኛው እየተነጋገር የሚስተላለፈው መልእክት የዕድሜ መጠን ከሌለው አስቸጋሪ ነው የሚሆነው። ስለዚህ ልጆች ብዙም ጊዜ በቤተ ክርስቲያን ያለ መምጣት ሲመጡም የመሰልቸት፣ የማዛጋት፣ የድካም መንፈስ የሚታይባቸው መልእክቱን ሊረዱ ስላልቻሉ፣ ለምን ለወላጆቻቸው የሚነገረው ለእነሱ ስለማይመችም። ስለዚህ ወደፊት ቤተ ክርስቲያኒቱን ለዚህ ሁሉ ወጣቱን ለማሰማራት ወንጌላውያን የሆኑ ሰባኪያን የሆኑ የተማሩ ልጆች ያስፈልጓታል፣ በየዕድሜ ልኩ አገልግሎት የሚሰጡ። ስለዚህ በዚህ ረገድ ወደፊት ከእናንተ ከልጆቻችን ጋር ከወጣት ካህናት ጋር ህብረት እየፈጠርን በሀገረ ስብከቱ ስምሪት እያደረግን በተለያየ ለወጣቶች የራሱን የቻለ ቀን አገልግሎት፣ ለወላጆች የንስሐ ትምህርት ራሱን የቻለ እንደዚህ ሕፃናቱም ደግሞ እንዲሁ በሚረዱት አሻንጉሊቱን በምኑም መልክ እያደረጉ የሚማሩበትን መንገድ ማዘጋጀት ያስፈልጋል። የቴሌቪዥን ፕሮግራሞችን በዚህ አይነት መልክ ወደፊት ሊዘጋጁ ይገባል በቤተ ክርስቲያኒቱና ጥሩ ነው። ይህ ወንድማችን ግን ይሄን ሁሉ ስራ ልጃችን ሲሰራ ይሄ ሁሉ ድጋፍና እርዳታ ሳያገኝ ነው። በራሱ ጥረት ምናልባት ወላጆቹ ቤተሰቦቹ በርታ ሊሉት ይችላሉ እንጂ ይሄን ያህል በቤተ ክርስቲያን እንደው ትኩረት ተሰጥቶት በርታ የሚል ክትትል ላያገኝ ይችላል። ምን ለመሆን ነው የት ለመድረስ ነው የምንለው እኛ ተስፋ አስቆራጮች ነን። ስለዚህ እንደነዚህ አይነት ልናበረታታ በእውነቱ ይሄ የመጀመሪያ ዝግጅቱ በዚህ አይነት ቀላል አይደለም። ወደ 193 ምናምን ገጽ መሰለኝ የተጻፈ 193 ገጽ ጽሁፍ በ11 ቻፕተር የተከፋፈሉ ይሄን ከትምህርት ጋራ ከስራ ጋራ ከኑሮ ጋራ እየታገለ ይሄን በማገልገሉ በማድረጉ ለዚህ ትውልድ ይሄን ትልቅ ስጦታ የመጀመሪያ ልጅህን ነው ለወንድሞች ለእህቶች የሰጠውና እንኳን ደስ አለ። አሁን ያው የበለጠ ለዚች ቤተክርስቲያን እንድታገለግል አይምሮውን ብሩህ ያድርግልህ። አባቶቻችን አምላክ ይጠብቅህ ነው የምለው። እንግዲህ እግዚአብሔር የተመሰገነ ይሁን። እንግዲህ ወጣቶች ልጆቻችን ይህን አይታችኋል፣ ተመልክታችኋል። እናንተም ጠንክሩ። በዚሁ በተወለዳችሁበት አፍ በፈታችሁበት ቋንቋ የምታገለግሉት አገልግሎት የተቀደሰ ነው፣ መልካም ነው። ይሁንና ግን የራሳችሁንም የወላጆቻችሁንም ቋንቋ እንዳትረሱ፣ በዚሁ ሰምጣችሁ እንዳትቀሩ። ነገ ኢትዮጵያን ደግሞ ስትጎበኙ እንደ ቱሪስት በአስተርጓሚው እንዳትሄዱ። ምክንያቱም አደራ ነው የምንለው እዚህ ሀገር ለተወለዱ ልጆች አንድ ሰው 4 ቋንቋ እንደዚህ አውቆ ማደግ ይችላል ይላል። ከሸመገል ለመጣ ነው እንቸገር ካልሆነ በስተቀር በልጅነት የመጡት እስከ 4 ቋንቋ ያለ መጨናነቅ ማወቅ ይችላሉ ነው የሚባለው። እንግዲህ ይባላል ነው ያላውቅም። ስለዚህ አሁን እናንተ የተወለዳችሁበትን የወላጆቻችሁን እኛ እንግዲህ ብሔር ብሔረሰብ 80 ምናምን ቋንቋ አለ። የገሌም ቋንቋ ጥሩ አይደለም። ያሁን ደግሞ ሴንሲቲቭ ኢሹ በሆነበት ሰዓት ግን የወላጆቻችሁን ቋንቋ መርሳት የለባችሁ። አገራችሁን በአስተርጓሚ ሄዳችሁ ማየት የለባችሁ። ስለዚህ መዝሙርም ስትዘምሩ በዚሁ በፈረንጅኛው፣ በግዕዙ፣ በሌላው በሀገራችሁ ቋንቋ በአማርኛውም፣ በትግርኛውም፣ በኦሮምኛውም በሌላው ሁሉም የኛ ሀብት ስለሆነ ልታገለግሉ ይገባችኋል። ቤተ ክርስቲያን ሃይማኖት ድንበር ስለሌለው ሁሉም ማገልገል አለ። ለዚህ ስለሆነ እኮ ነው ለአገልግሎት ቋንቋ ለአገልግሎት ወሳኝ ስለሆነ እኮ ነው መድኃኒታችን ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ደቀ መዛሙርቱ የጰራቅሊጦስ ዕለት መንፈስ ቅዱስ በላያቸው አድሮ ያንን ታላቅ ጸጋ ከተጎናጸፉ በኋላ ወዴት ነው የሰደዳቸው? ወደ ዓለም ነው እኮ የላካቸው። ወደ ዓለም ሲልካቸው እንዳይቸገሩ ከዓለም ጋር በቀላሉ መግባባት እንዲችሉ ወተናገሩ በነገረ ሁሉ በሐውርት በሁሉም ቋንቋ 72 ብሎ ይወስናል። በጊዜው የነበረው ቋንቋ ያ ሊሆን ይችላል። በሁሉ ቋንቋ እንዲናገሩ መንፈስ ቅዱስ ገለጠላቸው ነው የሚለው በዚህ በሐዋርያት ሥራ ምዕራፍ 2 መንፈስ ቅዱስ ገለጠላቸው። ስለዚህ ቋንቋ ወሳኝ ነው ማለት ነው። ወሳኝ ስለሆነ ነው ያንን ቋንቋ ራሱ ባለቤቱ የገለጠላቸው። ሰዎችም ግራ ስለተጋቡ አብረዋቸው ስለኖሩ በጉርብትና ስለሚያውቋቸው ያልተወለዱበትን ቋንቋ ሲናገሩ ሰምተው በጣም ተገረሙ። እንደውም አንዳንዶቹ በስካር መንፈስ ነው እንደዚህ የሚናገሩት አሉ። መቼም ስካር እንኳን ቋንቋ ሊገልጥ ያችሁን የምናውቃትን ያበላሻታል። እሷንም በትክክል መናገር አይቻልም። እንኳንስ ሌላ ተጨማሪ ቋንቋ ሊገልጥ ግን ያው ጠማሞች ስለነበሩ ነው። ድርጊቱን ላለማመን በኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ላለማመን የሚያደርጉት ነው። ግን ዞሮ ዞሮ ቋንቋ ወሳኝ ነው። መልካም ነው። ልጆቻችን በርቱልን፣ ጠንክሩልን። እንደ ዲያቆን ዳዊት ደግሞ ቀሲስም አለ ደግሞ ጀግና ጥሩ ወጣት ቄስ ነው። ንስሐ አባታቸው አባይ ቀሲስ አባይ አለ ያገለግሏቸዋል። እነ ቄስ ነህምያም አሉ። እንግሊዘኛ አገልግሎት ቅዳሴውን ጥሩ ነው፣ ግን ጥንቃቄ ይደረግ። አንድ ዩቱብ ላይ አይቻለሁ በእንግሊዘኛ ቅዳሴ የሚቀደስ አይቼ አንዳንድ ጊዜ መጠየቅ አለባቸው ልጆች መምህራኖቹም እነዚህ የእናንተ አይመስለኝም። ግን ዞሮ ዞሮ በዚህ በአሜሪካ ውስጥ የተካሄደን ያየሁት ንባቦች፣ ምክንያቱም ቅዳሴ የኛ ዶግማ ነው። በሚቀደስበት ጊዜ የሚዜሙት ዜማዎች ምልክት አላቸው፣ ሕግ አላቸው፣ ስርዓት አላቸው። ስለዚህ ያለ ኖታቸው ልናዜማቸው አንችልም። ዜማዎቹ ለምሳሌ ወሳኝ ሆኖ ቅዳሴ ሲገባ አሃዱ የሚለው ዜማ፣ ከዚያ ንስግድ ላይ እነ ወንጌል እነ እግዚኦታ እነዚህ የመሳሰሉ ሀበን እነዚህ የመሳሰሉትን በግዕዙ ማዜም ይገባል። ምስባኩን በግዕዙ ማዜም ይገባል። ንባባቱ ግን አሁን እኛ ስንቀድስ በግዕዝ እናዜማለን። ብዙዎቹ ንባባት በአማርኛ እናነባለን ወይም በግዕዙም ይነበባል። ነገር ግን እንደዛው በእንግሊዘኛ ማንበብ የሚዜሙትን ግን በግዕዝ ማዜም ያስፈልጋል። በአማርኛም አይዜሙ። እንኳን እኛ ትውልደ ኢትዮጵያውያን የሆናችሁት ደማችሁ የኢትዮጵያው የሆነው ቀርቶ ጥቂት ጊዜ ጃማይካ ነበርኩ። እዚህ ሀገር እንደመጣሁ ወደ ትሪንዳድ ቶቤጎ ነበር። እዚያስ እነዚያ እንኳ ግዕዙን ለምደው የሚያዜሙት ነክ የሆኑትን ቅድም ያልኳችሁን በግዕዝ ነው የሚያዜሙት። ንባቡን ግን በአማርኛ ያነባል። ስለዚህ አሁን እዚህ ምስባኩን በእንግሊዝኛ እንሰብካለን ብለው መቼም እንዴት አድርገው ነው ተጫወቱበት እና ያለቱ ነው። እንደሱ አይሆንም። እና ይሄ እኛ ስለፈለግን አይደለም፣ ሕግ አለ፣ ስርዓት አለ። እኛ ስለወደድን አይደለም፣ ለእኛ ስለተመቸን አይደለም። የቤተ ክርስቲያኒቱ ሕግ ስርዓት አለና መምህራኑ አሉ። በእርግጥ በእናንተ አልሰማሁም አላየሁም። ነገር ግን መነገሩ አይከፋም። እነዛም ሊሰሙት ስለሚችሉ ዜማ የሚዜሙትን አሁን መዝሙር በእንግሊዝኛ ዘመሩ፣ መልካም ነው። ይሄ መዝሙር ነው። በእንግሊዝኛም በግዕዝም በአማርኛም በትግርኛም በኦሮምኛም በአፋርኛም ከተቻለ በሁሉም ቋንቋ ቢዘመር በጣም መልካም ነው። ቅዳሴውን ግን እንደፈለግነው ልናደርግ ስለማንችል እዚህ ላይ ጥንቃቄዎች ይደረግ ይህን አደራ ለማለት ነው። እግዚአብሔር ጉባኤያችሁን ይባርክ። ተመሳሳይ ፕሮግራም ደግሞ እዚሁ ቅድስት ማርያም ወደ ኮሌጅ ወደ ዩኒቨርሲቲ የሚሄዱ የማህበረ ቅዱሳን የግቢ ተማሪዎች እንዲሁ በጸሎት ሸኘን ወደ ትምህርት ቤታችን ከመሄዳችን በፊት ስላሉ እነሱን ደግሞ ከዚህ በኋላ ሄጄ ወደ የትምህርት ቤታቸው በሰላም እንዲገቡ በጸሎት በቡራኬ ስለማሰናበት ነው። ቀድሜ በመሃል ከፕሮግራም ውጭ የገባሁት ውይይት የሚል ነገር ስለሰማሁ ውይይት ከተጀመረ ያው መንጋቱ ነው ብዬ እኔ ልቅደም ብዬ ነው ቀድሜ በመሃል የገባሁት። ይቅርታ ጠይቃለሁ። እንግዲህ እግዚአብሔር ይባርካችሁ። የመጣችሁትም አክብራችሁ የተገኛችሁትን ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር ያክብራችሁ። እግዚአብሔር ለቤተ ክርስቲያናችን ለሀገራችን ሰላምን ይስጥልን። ከምንም በላይ ሰላም ናፍቆናል፣ ሰላም እንፈልጋለን። በሀገራችን ጉዳይ ብዙ ሀዘን አለብን፣ ግን ሁሉንም ማቅለል የሚችል ባለቤቱ እሱ መድኃኔዓለም የሀገራችን ፈተናና ችግር ያቅልልን። እናንተንም እግዚአብሔር ይባርክ። ዲያቆን ዳዊት እግዚአብሔር ጸጋውን ያብዛልን፣ ስራህን ይባርክልህ፣ አብዝቶ ይባርክ መድኃኔዓለም። እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ ስላዳመጣችሁ። እግዚአብሔር ሁላችሁም ጋር ይሁን።
ብፁዕ አባታችንን እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን። አባታችን ከመሄዳቸው በፊት እኔ ማድረግ ያለብኝ አንድ ነገር ስላለ ነው። ከሁለታችሁ አባታችን ሁለት መጽሐፍ ይዣለሁ። እዚህ መጽሐፍ አንዱ የራሴ የግሌ መጽሐፍ ነው፣ አንዱ ደግሞ ለእናንተ የሚሰጥ ነው። ዋጋው እናንተ የምትወስኑበት ዋጋ ነው። ለየት የሚያደርግ ነገር አለው መጽሐፍ ውስጥ እና እዚህ መጽሐፍ ውስጥ ምን ለየት የሚያደርግ ነገር እንዳለው ስትገዙት ነው የምታውቁት። ግን እንደ ጨረታ የመጽሐፉን ዋጋ አላቅም፣ ዋጋውን ግን ከዛ ዋጋ በላይ እንድትገዙት ፈልጌያለሁ። የምጀምረው ከ100 ብር ነው። 100 ብር የሚወስደው ጣቱን ይሰጠኛል። ከዛ እየጨመርን ይህን መጽሐፍ ገዛ ትሰጡታላችሁ። It has a special memory in it. It has a special symbol inside of it. And it has a very personal message in it. So it's an auction. You can participate in this auction. It's one of the book will be yours. So I will start the price from 100. So if there's anyone who can give me $100, I'll give it to him. Or you can raise it up. Yes, sister. 100? Okay, can I get 110? Can I get 110? 110 I got from Natty. I need more. What did you say? 150. I got 150. 100. Yes, sir. 200. I got 200. I got 200. Can anyone pay more than 200 to get this blessing from the bishop and from his altar? 250. Can I get one more time? Should I sell it for one? 260. 260. All right, I got 260. Sweetheart, I got 300. Can you hear that? I got 300. Can anyone pay more than 300 for this book? I got 1 minute. I got 1 minute because Alab is looking at me. Are you going to give me the mic or are you going to sell it for more? Keep going. Okay, thank you. 300. One. Yes, sir. 350. 350. 350. አይኔን ልጨፍን እጃችሁን ታወጣላችሁ ወይስ አይኔን ለግለጥ እጃችሁ ታወጣላችሁ? 350 ተብሏል። 375. Don't use that word. I heard it. Don't use that word. 375. Can I get one more time? 400. I got 400. አባታችን ይበቃል። ልቀጥል። አባታችን ቡራኬ ሰጥተውኛል። የኔ ቡራኬ የማገብቶበት ከ400 በላይ መሸጥ አለበት። የጳጳስ ቡራኬ አለው። So 400, yes sir. Did you raise your hand, son? No. You. Hey, I'm a businessman as well. 400. እሺ አባማርኛ ልበለው 400 በሁለቱ ሰው የጳጳሱ የሊቀ ጳጳሱ ቡራኬ ያለበት የደራሲው ቡራኬ ያለበት ሰው hey you are getting a treasure መጽሐፍ ብቻ ሳይሆን ከዛም በላይ ነው የምታገኙት so 400 በቃ Baba እንደምትለው ልጅ ይበል can I get 450 is that too much I'm sure you will spend 450 for your sneaker this is better than your sneaker I can tell you that አይደለም ተሳሳት ጎን ብኝ 450 gone once gone twice I'm just giving you the wrong book. It is the right book. ብዙ አባታችን 400 ብር ተገኝቷል 400 ብር ለገዙት ወንድማችን በቡራኬ ይስጥልን ወንድማችን ወደዚህ ይመጣል 400 ናቲ yes you want to read it? So the book says, hope you enjoy it, from Dawit, and then His Eminence Abu Nafanuel's 100 signature with his name and the date. Thank you. Very welcome. Oh. እሺ ካሌብ ደግሞ ጥያቄ ጠይቆኛል so my sister right there ጠይቃት what's her name and Banasumis Blaine so I have this book since you've mentioned 375 I'm gonna give you this book for 375 right so አባታችን ይህንን ደግሞ በ375 ብር ወስዳለሁ ብላለች እርሶ ቡራኬ ይስጥልን አራት ሙላት በቃ 25 ብር ነው አራት ሙይ ተብለሻል ከብፁዕነታቸው 400 ብር አጅ ተወስዳለች ማለት ነው ይፈርሙላት አባታችን ከመውሰዷ በፊት ተሰጁ ፊርማቸውን ያስቀምጡልሻል እና ዳዊትን መመጣ እዚህ ላይ መፈረም የሚገባህና እንግዲህ ጻፍላት የተለየ መልእክትም ለእህታችን የምታስተላልፈው ካለ መልእክትህን አድርግ ይዋካም ሲራል እግዚአብሔር ይባርካችሁ hey thank you ካሌብ ለዚህ ቃል ለዚህ ምክር are you happy daddy
So I gave you my own that was the book that I was reviewing
All right. Can't believe he just sold 2 books for $800. Maybe I should be an author. I should write books. That's what his brother was saying. So at this time, we're going to get, while they're doing the signing book, if all the panelists should come up to the front. And we'll start with the panel discussion. And for everybody, for FYI, so if you're here and you have a question for the author about the book, after the panel discussion, we're going to get an interview one-on-one with the author himself, Deacon Dawit Muluneh. So if you have any questions, kind of write them down and be prepared. So we'll get into that after the panel discussion. So at this time, we'll ask all the panelists to come to the front. BB. We'll let some people get coffee and stuff right now, I think. See. All right. So at this point, if we could just have the panelists kind of go around and introduce yourself. So we'll just start with the introduction.
My name is Father Nehemiah Gedu. I'm a father, which means I'm a priest. At the same time, I'm a husband and I'm a dad of 3 beautiful children. And I currently serve at Debre Genet Madhanalam Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahdo Church in Temple Hills, Maryland. I serve as a youth director and the youth service that we give in our church. I am the director of it, and at the same time, I'm a teacher and I'm a student as well. Thank you.
And my name is Aida Abeba, and I am the mother of 2 beautiful kids. They're sitting right there. Thank you.
My name is Jonathan, or Diakon Jonathan. I'm a deacon at St. Mary's Church in DC.
Deacon Muluneh, and I am a parent as well as a Sunday school teacher.
My name is Juju Tafara Lekasa. I am a mother as well as an employee, so I have to work full-time job and take care of 2 beautiful little girls with my husband.
All right, so after the introduction, so not everybody has to answer this, but you guys have all read the book and you've seen a copy of it. What was the first impression of your book, of the book? So just your first impression. Any of you guys can answer.
I was like, really? Deacon Dawit wrote this? I'm trying to find where it was plagiarized. All jokes aside, I was amazed that I actually personally know Deacon Dawit, and that he was able to devote himself to making this piece of literature that is going to really change the gap and be there for generation after generation. I was impressed.
Funny you said that, Gigi. Some of his college friends are here, and when he first posted that he was releasing a book, one of their comments were, Dawit could write in English, so you're not the only one that felt that way.
My first impression was I saw him teaching, and I was very impressed. And for a young child who grew up in the USA, to teach like that, to really know about the Bible, when I saw the book, I was so excited to know his background. That's what excited me so much. And his life is amazing. And he's a hope for my kids. And thank you so much for giving me hope for my kids. Thank you.
Should we answer the same question? Or?
I'll go to the second.
My first impression, if I can say it, I'm a book junkie, as I call myself, or my daughter calls me. I read too much, and sometimes I even forget what my kids are talking to me while I'm at home. The first time Dawit gave me this book was a soft copy that I can review it. I was a student at that time. I didn't have that much time to review and reply or respond to it. I did not, and my official and sincere apology to Dawit in front of you guys. That's my confession first. So the first time I read it, I was really, really intrigued until it comes to fruition, into this reality. And I was so happy that the church, our beloved church, never lose hopes through her children. And God will always work through the mix and the weaks. So even though people have seen him as a weakest link in our church since he grew up here, since he was not speaking our language fluently or understand the church teaching fluently, for him to get up and write this life experience, it gives me, as Ida, it gives me hope that the church will prosper through our children, and I thank God for that.
All right, second question. So, I think one of my Sunday school students made a comment about this. So, what do you guys think about the book cover and the title?
It took me a little bit to first, like I know we talked about a few options, so I didn't know what was gonna, what the option was gonna be at the end. But I think it was it's a reflection of what many people feel when they, walk into the church. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have that connection. They know some about it, but they're trying to like reconcile their past with their present, when it comes to their spiritual journey. And I think it encompasses that moment. I think it makes it, it's like a reflection of that essentially. So yeah, and I think just to answer your previous question, because I want to share this story about the book. So he calls me about like 3 months, I guess, before when he's planning to publish this book, and he says, "I'm writing a book." And I was like, okay. And it was sort of, he just said it, if I was writing a book, I would go on top of a mountain and I would say, behold. And so I was like, oh, what about, just about the church and for the youth. And he sort of said it very, like that it wasn't a big deal. I was like, oh, okay, well, good luck. And then he started sending me more and more detail about it and like chapters and things like that. And I realized it was obviously a really serious project. Obviously I'm very glad that God helped him make this happen. But yeah, I thought both the title and the book were really speaks to what the youth experience.
I think my first impression beyond the book, just how great the book is, I think it was the cover that really caught my eye, because I think it was really beautiful. With the way, I know there's sentiment behind it too, with him choosing the background of Devra Libanos. But just like Vinny said, I think there's a lot behind it with the youth coming back to the church. It really portrayed what it is like for a lot of youth. And I just love the way he put the little dude over there just standing right there, and then there's that, very kind priest that's just willing to open the book and explain things for him. And I just found it really beautiful.
All right, and also just to clarify before we move on to the next question, if you guys can speak a little bit louder so people in the back can hear you guys, thank you. And also just one more thing, the picture in the front, that's not Dawit. A lot of people ask him, is that you? That is not him, so just want to get that out the way. In the book, there's various different chapters. Which parts of the book stood out to you? And it can be about a specific chapter, it can be a different section. So you can talk about an overall chapter, overall theme within the book. So whatever stood out to you the most, and thoughts.
The one that stood out the most for me was getting right with God. I think it's on page 59. And one thing that really made a lot of sense to me is how Dawit put it. Instead of trying not to sin, or we cannot avoid sin most of the time, you make mistakes, but we should concentrate more on doing good things, being right. When we do good things, I guess, then the chance of doing a sin is gonna be less and less. And that was a very big lesson for me. Even to talk to my kids, I told them, concentrate more on doing good, because it's hard for the kids to tell them, don't do this. At young age, they always made mistakes. But if you tell them to do good things, that would definitely help them to stay away from sin. That's what I got from this book. Thank you.
Mine, as I have discussed it with him in a video, the struggle is real with the one that has touched me personally. There are two ways that I can explain it. There's a person who dear and near to me has lost his life because of depression. At the same time, there is a person, a young man who I grew up with since I was a little baby. He has struggled with PTSD because he has joined the U.S. Air Force when we came to America, and going to Kandahar, lost himself, and now he has defeated his battle, and he's doing his PhD in physics in one of the prominent universities in America. So I've seen those struggles in my own life. So the struggle is real, meant too personal to me, so that I'm not gonna lie, I read it more than 3-4 times. And the journey that our own Deacon Dawit went through it, and it is real. And through it, God will be our guidance. God will be our provider. God will be our provider at the same time, and He is our protector. Finally, we will go through it, but we don't come short. So His advice on this book was the most transformational words that I read. I'm going to read it to you. For me, it says 117 page. For me, the best remedy I found for depression was understanding what my purpose in life was. I advise you to do the same whether or not you are dealing with depression. Your entire life will be completely transformed once you know why God created you. So, understanding the purpose of life, why we are here, and where do we go from here is revealed in His book. I want you to read it, and at the same time, have a confession father in your life, or a friend that you believe and trust, that you can count on them beside God, is the most important thing in life, and then it gives you answer. So I challenge you to go home today. Before you go home, ask yourself, have I seen all I need? So what you need, if you don't see it, go through this book, and then have a friend to counsel yourself, because the struggle is real. The bullying is real. One of the experiences that I can give you in my own family, my own son has been bullied actually. As Dawit discussed it with his parent, my son discussed, even my daughter actually. So one time there was an incident that happened in a school. Kids are kids. At the same time, when the evil comes, there will be a bully. So they have painted my son in different colors without his consent. His face, his hands, his clothes, red, white, yellow, green, blue, every color in his face. And he told his teacher, and the teacher was upset that she didn't understand the situation, so she sent him to the bathroom, not asking him, before even asking him what has happened or what has transpired for him to cry. He went to the bathroom, stayed there, cried and cried and cried. Someone came, hearing his weep and his sorrow, consent with him. They discussed the whole thing. Like, he came home, and nobody even told the story to the principal. So I wrote, after I saw everything, I wrote an email to the principal, what has happened, and I sent him a picture. And I have discussed it with my son at the same time. No matter how our children go through this thing, in their own understanding, because their trouble, their problem is our problem in its own way. So remember, we didn't go to school with a bus. We didn't wait for a bus. We walked to the school. We don't expect our children to walk to school. As we don't expect our children to go to school walking, we shouldn't be expecting our children to go through what we went through so that they can be the brave young men. And that's that. In their own mental health, in their own mental wealth, they go through a lot. So to make the story short, I spoke to the principal. The principal was so sad that my son went through this thing, and then he has to go through counseling. And as a counselor, I've sat with my child, and he's a brilliant student. Actually, he gives me a chill when I speak about him. He's a very, very intelligent and quiet person. You can do whatever in life if you have God in your life. At the same time, teach them about God, teach them about the pride that they should have about who they are. They will be bullied about their injera. They will be bullied about their songs. Even my son, when he prays before he eats his lunch, he will be bullied. What language are you speaking? What are you saying? Those things are challenging to our children. So in that, as a parent, we need to sit down and talk to them. I mean, it is different, but at the same time, this thing is real. As a parent, I advise every parent, or who plan to be a parent, to go sit down with their children. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, as you can see, the book really covers a lot of different topics, so definitely encourage everybody to get the book. So when we think about the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahdo Church, it's a faith, we practiced from 2,000 years ago. And here we are in America and, doing the same thing. So based on the book, what type of impact can this book have on somebody that may not understand the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahdo Church, or somebody that was born into the church, here in America, and don't really relate to the church?
So just to make sure I understand, you said what's the impact that it could have on a person probably residing in the U.S.? I think it will have a profound impact because I can relate personally. When I was growing up, I didn't have a place that I felt like I could go to where someone could thoroughly explain to me from beginning and end about our faith. I would go to church, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahdo Church. However, there was this language barrier because I was raised in the U.S. And to have a book like this that really breaks it down in a very simplified way, why our faith is so important and how you can relate to it. It's really one of a kind. I haven't come across anything even close to this. You can search on the web, but as many of you all probably know, everything on the web isn't true. It isn't factual. And to have someone like Deacon Dawit actually write something that I think that anyone, even if you're 15 years old or you're 35 years old or 40 years old, it doesn't matter. This makes it accessible to you and relatable.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, I think, obviously, like you mentioned, our church is ancient, but I think a lot of people think that makes it irrelevant. But obviously, the teachings of the church, I had a friend who's an American that converted to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, describe it as like a hidden gem. It's like a hidden diamond. And when you learn about it, some of us, are born into the faith, like our parents were in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, so then we grow up Ethiopian Orthodox. We may not exactly understand what's going on, but when you really understand, if you're intentional about understanding it, the more you learn, the more you fall in love with it. Of course, it's a lifetime journey. It's like an ocean, right? Like the more you learn, there's so much beauty within the church. And I think what the book does is it gives you a window into that. It makes it relatable. It doesn't make it so scary and so I don't know, something that you can never be a part of, so it's very welcoming, but it doesn't lose its truth. It's very honest, and so that's really important. I think sometimes people, in order to bring someone to the church, like they don't understand the truth. They may not say, oh, they may have like misinformation. The nice thing is this has been reviewed by the church fathers, by the priests, by theologians in our church. So the information is accurate, but it's also presented in a way that the youth can feel like they can be a part of the church. And I also have to say, like, I have not found a resource like that, that is comprehensive, honest, and makes you kind of want to think about the church more seriously as a big part in your life.
I mean, we all grew up in church, and we know when the Qaddasi started, and from the start to the end, that I have never felt how Dawit put it. You really made me want to go and see every step again, because you put it saying that it's living when Jesus was here with us. You made it amazing. I don't know. I have no word. Thank you so much for that.
I agree with Gigi with the fact that I think it make a profound effect on someone here that lives in this country that might not have a strong connection with the church, because just like Beanie said, it's looked over by priests and has factual information, but it's presented in a way, it's like a new take on the whole Q&A style. I've seen this book, the Coptic Church has like a Q&A style book where they answer a lot of questions that Dawit tackles in here, but it's in a very like Q&A style question. So we'll have like question, answer, and there's no really connection with the reader. But I really like even the rhetoric with it. It's like a humorous rhetoric. It's like you're at a YOTC class right there watching Dawit speak to you. There are jokes, and he relates it back in real life connections. So it's not just a question and an answer. I think there was one example where there was the book, the chapter on the birds and the bees. And I remember even the first sentence, it was like, why do I have the feeling that you flipped right to this page just to read this without reading the rest of the book?
It was a matter of time before somebody talked about birds and the bees. All right, moving on to the next question. So, like everybody said, I think the book touches on a lot of different topics. So if there was one question that you wish that he answered, what would it be? He answered a lot of questions. There's 11 chapters, and within those 11 chapters, there are subtopics. So if there was one question that you felt like that he needed to answer or wished he answered, what would it be?
I would ask a question: how did you get the courage to reveal yourself to the public while you are a deacon? That would be my question, because we lack, every one of us, not only him, as a Christian, we lack ourselves, revealing ourselves, our weaknesses. The most prominent father that I know in Christian history is, it will be debatable as I have expressed it, St. Augustine. People argue about his sainthood because he revealed so much about himself. He confessed. Actually, he wrote a book on confession. The confession was all about his life, what he was, how he lived, how he found Jesus Christ, how he became Christian, finally how he became a bishop. Now, to your surprise, he is the most prominent saint in the Eastern Orthodox community. But in our church, people will always debate about his status. So that is why David got me thinking that it is his confession, how he became not the so-called Christian, but the most prominent Christian who revealed himself as Christ revealed himself. Jesus Christ was God. He is God. But at the same time, we have seen him through witnesses. He was weeping when Martha and Mary were crying about their brother. He was hungry at the same time. He was talking to a woman, actually, on the well, while she was by herself, to reveal himself who he was. And then, of course, not only that he revealed himself, he revealed who she was and who she's going to be. So for that, how did you get the courage, Dawit? That is what I want to hear from you, because I've never seen from our own perspective, from our own church. I'm sure people will say that, but with our own weakness, even with our own lowliness, I see the mercy and the compassion of our Lord. And then, most importantly, with His grace, I still serve God. If it wasn't for God, I know none of us would be here. None of us will speak actually about God. So let the glory be to God. But I admire your courage. At the same time, I want you to share us later on when you reveal it. How did you get that courage to say so much so that we can see your life? At the same time, we can learn from it. And in you personally inspiring me to do something that nobody will expect me to do in the future. So, hey, wait for it. Thank you, Dawit.
All right, so we'll go to the last two questions, and I'll kind of group them together. So, one, what was the biggest takeaway for you guys as far as reading the book, and would you recommend this book to somebody else? And you could be honest.
Well, I would definitely recommend the book to others. And you know, one thing I love about the book, it's not one of those books that you read and you say, okay, and you leave it on the shelf. It's one of those books that you want to go back to and reread and remind yourself of all of the important takeaway items from it. It's a great reference, even as something as simple as remembering the names of all of the different fasts, which ones are minor, which ones are major. And one of my chapters that really stood out for me was God is everywhere. When I was younger, I kind of struggled with why is it so important to go to church, and since God is omnipotent and omniscient, and why can't I just pray at home and that be enough? And that there's a chapter that actually talks about that actually addresses why it's important to have both. And that it's not exclusive, that both things are actually going to benefit you, and why. The importance of intercession. There's so many things that this book talks about, touches on, without talking about it to death. It just gives you a concise reasoning and explanation that you can always go back to and reference.
I think it would be awkward if his brother said he would not recommend it. I do recommend the book, obviously, but I'll say why. One is that I think it's set up for example, for like Sunday schools or for group study. I think it's really nice because, as you said earlier, the chapters are laid out. And then at the end, there's like discussion questions and challenges. So it's both from an individual personal growth perspective as well as discussion with a group effort. So this is something that I would like to do, like with my high school Sunday school students, for example. And as Gigi said, I think for me, like the chapter that actually really did, I thought was the most prominent in my mind after Struggle is Real was The Birds and the Beast. And I think, like, in terms of takeaway, I think what it does is, like, obviously the world frames things in the mind of the youth. It certainly did for me. Like, what is normal? We talk about relationships. When you ask people, a lot of the youth, where does your understanding of relationships come from? A lot of times where it comes from school, it comes from movies, it comes from social media. No one will tell you my understanding of, marriage or relationships comes from the church or what the church teaches. And a lot of people don't even know that the church actually not only talks about, you know, marriage and holy matrimony, it's one of the 7 sacraments of our church. There's entire perspectives and resources and tools the church has to support you through relationships. And a lot of, I think, because I think if you can get the relationships right, if you can have families that have, you know, the truth within them and is formed through the holy matrimony, then, you know, I think then you're able to build a generation of believers that understand the truth. You see what I'm saying? So I think, to me, that the idea of how to incorporate Christ into like a relationship, both dating, marriage, it completely flips the script on what we are seeing in the world, you know. And so I think that was a huge takeaway, and I think hopefully people read it and are practicing these habits and these lessons. That could have a transformative effect, I think.
አሁን በአማርኛ ነው ማውራት የምንፈልገው ስለ መጽሐፉ ስለሆነ መጽሐፉን በጣም ሪኮመንድ ማድረግ ብቻ ሳይሆን እያንዳንዳችሁ ሊኖራችሁ ይገባል. As a parent, speaking of a parent, by the way, how proud are you, dad and mom, about this deacon doing this thing and revealing God in front of this congregation? You should be proud, and may God bless you more. እግዚአብሔር እናንተን ይባርካችሁ። በእውነቱ በጣም ወላጅ እንደዚህ ፍሬውን ሲያይ በተለይ ጠዋት አልነሳም ብሎ አስቸግሮ ተነሳ ብላችሁ ይዛችሁ ሄዳችሁ ብንያምም እንቅልፌን መተኛ, you know, I go through it as well. So as a parent I speak that. እና ተነሳ አትነሳ እንሂድ ተባብላችሁ አርጋችሁ እዚህ ደርሶ መጽሐፍ ጽፎ ከራሱ አልፎ ሌሎች ሰዎችን ማዳን መቻል ክርስትና ማለት ይሄ ነው። ክርስትና ማለት ይሄ ነው። ከራስ አልፎ ለሌላው መኖር ክርስትና ነውና በጣም ልትኮሩ ይገባችኋል። እግዚአብሔርም በእናንተና በልጆቻችሁ ስለሰራ ለእኛም ተስፋ ሰጥቶን እንዲሁ እንደ ዳዊት አባትና እናት ልጆቻችንን ወደ ቤተ መቅደስ ማምጣት ባንሰለች እግዚአብሔር እንዲህ እንደሚሰራባቸው ማየት እንችላለን። That's the most important thing. እኔ ከዚህ መጽሐፍ መናገር ፈልጋለሁ። ሌላው መጽሐፉን ዛሬ ያልወሰዳችሁ መውሰድ እንዳለባችሁ ሳላስጠነቅቃችሁ አላልኩም። በመስቀልም ይዣችኋለሁ፣ ይዛችሁ ምን አለባችሁ ካህናትም ሁላችሁ። እንደውም እኔም ለተማሪዎቻችን ወደ 249 ተማሪዎች አሉ፣ ለነዚያ ወላጆች ሁሉ እንዲወሰዱ እንግዲህ 3-4 ልጅ ያለው ስላለ ተማሪዎች ቁጥር ባይሆንም የዛን ያህል ግን ወላጆች እንዲወስዱ የማድረግ ኃላፊነት አለብኝ ብዬ አምናለሁ። በእኛም ቤተክርስቲያን መጥተህ ለእንደዚሁ ለወላጆችና ለልጆች እንድታቀርብልን በዚሁ አጋጣሚ ጠይቃለሁ። ምክንያቱም ቅድም እንዳልኩት ነው ለተለያዩ ተራ ነገሮች መጽሐፍ ገንዘብ እናወጣለን በዛ ኮምፔር ላላረገው ባልፈልግም ይሄ ግን የህይወትን ምግብ ነው ለልጆቻችን። is a beacon of hope. በቃ ለነሱ ነገ እኛም እንዲህ ብንል እግዚአብሔርን እናገኛለን። እግዚአብሔር ቅርባችን ነው። እግዚአብሔር አጠገባችን ነው። ቤተክርስቲያን እናታችን ናት፣ እግዚአብሔር አባታችን ነው የሚለው ሪሌሽንሺፕ እንዲጸና ያደርጋልና Christianity is all about relationship. What relationship you have with Christ, what relationship you have with the Lord and with the saints, with the righteous men and women, that is how you define yourself. That is why we look up to the saints, so that we became one of the icon in the church. Mary, she is an icon in our church. The angels, they are the icons in our church. You can define yourself as a Christian to be one of the icons inside the church, that we worship with you forever. We worship with the angels forever. We worship with Saint Terlahaimanot forever, because they were the representative, they were the pioneer what the Lord has been, what the Lord is in our life. ስለዚህ ያንን ሆነን መኖር የምንችልበትን ነገር ማግኘት ስለምንችል ለወላጆች ሪኮመንድ አደርገዋለሁ፣ ለጊፍትም ሪኮመንድ አደርገዋለሁ። በነገራችን ላይ ከዚህ በላይ whether what is coming Valentine's Day, you can give it to for Valentine's Day. I'm telling you, you'll save a life. If you have Christ, you'll always have Valentine's Day. Don't you agree? Because Christ is all about love. He is the fruit of life. He is the life of love himself, itself. To define love, I look up to Jesus Christ. So give it to her or give it to him.
I actually want to say I did give a book to my wife for Valentine's Day, so he's not joking.
እንግዲህ በአማርኛ ልናገር አሁን እንደ እናት ሆኜ ነው የምናገረው። I think ይሄ መጽሐፍ ለልጆቻችን በጣም 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 ጠቃሚ ነው። Maybe 13 and up or 12 and up እንደ እናንተ ልጆቻችሁን ታውቋቸዋላችሁ፣ ያሉበትን maturity level ታውቃላችሁ። ግን እንደ ፋሚሊ ተሰብስበው ቁጭ ብሎ እያንዳንዷን ቻፕተር እያነበቡ ዲስከስ ማድረግ ምክንያቱም ለኛም ሞር እንድንናገር ይረዳናል። መጽሐፍ ቅዱስና የመጽሐፍ ቅዱስ ጥቅሶች ስላሉት እነሱን እየጠቀስን እያንዳንዳቸውን ከልጆቻችን ጋር ለመማር ይጠቅመናል። ልጆቻችን ለማስተማርና ልጆቻችን በትክክለኛ መንገድ እንዲሄዱ በጣም በጣም ጠቃሚ ነጥቦች ስላሉት ወላጆች ከልጆቻችሁ ጋር ሆናችሁ አብራችሁ ብታነቡት ጥቅም ያለው ይመስለኛል።
We want to make it short, but I think the takeaway that I got from this book is to not give up. For sure, Dawit didn't give up with all the struggles he's seen with trying to serve the youth in English, something that not a lot of people have tried, and if they have tried, probably were let down by others. But even from the title, it says, I need answers. So people that open this book are here to get the answers that they've been wanting. So I think even, and then all the way towards the end where it says the chapter, what's next? Where it tells you what to do with all this information, how to apply it to your life. What do you do from now? I think one thing that you could take away is to not give up with all the struggles that may come on our way, any tribulations, to just have faith in Christ and to keep going forward.
All right, so the overall theme is, buy the book. And I also share a little bit of experience about myself is, a lot of times we have questions about the church. Again, it's an ancient faith, goes back to 2,000 years. And a lot of times we come to the church and, people are instructing us to do X, Y, Z. There's an answer for everything that our church does. So before you walk away from the church, before you lose faith in the church, Deacon Dawit didn't lose faith in the church. He stuck with it. So for the Americans, people that are born here that might not speak the language, I had a hard time speaking the language, understanding. So this is what's going to help. It addresses a lot of questions. And our church has an answer for everything we do within the church. And I'll repeat that. Everything we do inside the church, starting from taking our shoes off, why we wear natala, there's an answer. That ties back to the biblical. So I encourage you guys, everybody, to buy a book. Buy one for your friend. Buy one for your coworker. So I definitely encourage you guys to buy multiple books and be able to share this with other people. So panelists, I just want to say thank you guys for being courageous and coming up here and talking to us and sharing your experience. All right, so while they're kind of doing the cleanup, we're going to do another trivia. So this is the last trivia. All right, so the last free book that we're giving out. Maybe. All right.
All right, guys, everyone ready for some trivia, right? We need your cooperation and involvement. So real quick, what monastery did the author attend?
What monastery did he attend? Raise your hand. Okay, I see a hand up there. እሺ She got it. Somebody can get it.
Round of applause.
All right, so next we'll have the YOTC worship team come to the stage and they'll sing a spiritual hymn. YOTC worship team. There you go.